Okay. So what will happen is, when we added raw salt, in this case only, we will see the precipitates. Okay, so I'll once again draw a little bit. So here you should have a little careful this thing, that last time also we did things like this. Something like this, if it is, although not proper, but something like this. So what we will get is, we will get precipitate in the first hand itself. Okay, so we will get a precipitate. Okay, after addition of raw salt, so two way we are doing it. One, we have taken the protein. In that protein, we made it in two parts, in two test tube. In one test tube we added raw salt, and in another test tube we added saturated solution. Okay, saturated what solution? Salt solution. Now we are filtering it by a filter paper. Okay, now in this case what we will see is, we will get precipitate in both case. So what does it mean? It means that we are getting what precipitate? Protein precipitate. Protein precipitate in both case means what? Once again you see, previously in case of albumin, can you remember what happened? We only got precipitation when we used raw salt. In saturated solution, albumin did not give any precipitate. Why? Because since you are adding saturated solution, not the salt itself, so the overall concentration of salt is less here, isn't it? When it is raw salt, the concentration of salt per mole is much higher instead of saturated salt. So in albumin we saw that precipitation is also only seen when raw salt is added. Now in this case, in globulin, what we saw, in saturated salt as well as raw salt, in both case we received precipitate. So if this thing happens, you can be sure that your protein is having what? Globulin. Okay, your protein is what? Having globulin. If it would have been albumin, you could have find precipitate only with raw salt, not with both these two. So by doing this a simple method, we can determine that globulins are low, they have a low capacity to dissolve in water. Understood? Now you can ask me about the molecular weight. So for molecular weight, what you should do? We should do using an SDS page. If there is an SDS page in two lanes, in one lane we are doing albumin, in another lane we are doing globulin. So what will happen? You will see that albumin is coming much lower or much faster, because the overall molecular weight is also very low, isn't it? So we also studied this. If you can remember last year class, I do not know whether you remember, I think you remember also, that very nicely, if you can see it, that you had a antibody structure. Okay, in this antibody it looked like this, isn't it? And then it will be difficult to draw. It was like this. Can you remember? It was like this. Okay, so it was like this. So we used to call them what? Heavy chain. These we used to call them heavy chain. and these we used to call light chain, isn't it? So many domains, light chain domains 2 and heavy chain domains 2, isn't it? So the overall molecular weight is approximately how much? 1500 kilodalton. Okay, so approximately 1500 kDa was the molecular weight. Very very high molecular weight, isn't it? Now this is a single molecule of globulin, so it can be represented by Ig, isn't it? Because all other are having different patterns. For example, this is Ig, but if IgG we shall say, okay. Now if it would have been IgA, then there is a dimer, so we shall write dimer. Okay, now if it is IgM, if it is a pentamer. So what does it mean? It means that the molecular weight of globulins will increase day by day. Okay, so there was one more experiment. Last time we did not spoke, but this time we can speak about it. That there are different, for example, these antibodies. Okay, so since we are talking about protein technology, we should also learn, so why these globulins are necessary. You can ask, sir, why we need to study about globulin? Because these are nothing but antibody molecules, and there are plenty of antibody molecules which are useful, isn't it? We studied about all this. One such this thing is for passive immunization, that is very important today. Passive immunization. Okay, how? By providing preformed antibodies. For there is a patient who is not responding to any medicine against COVID. Okay, so what is the option you have? You give them plasma therapy. Okay, now what is a plasma therapy? Plasma therapy is nothing but you have taken the plasma. Okay, so let us see if I can show you here. Just hold on. Here you see what is happening here. Now this is a patient. Is it visible to all? Visible?
Yes, sir.
Now this is a case where it is a patient. Okay, now which kind of patient is this? This is a recovered patient. That means he is having sufficient what? Immunity. So this is his antibody. Okay, so we isolated it. Now then what we will do is we will study whether it is good or bad. Then we will do some in vitro functional studies, functional assays. Now after this assay we found out a particular class of antibody which is very good against COVID-19. Okay, so what we will do is we will make monoclonal antibody out of it. Now these are monoclonal antibodies. Okay, now these antibodies are highly specific to a particular spike protein of COVID-19. Okay, now here we will do a little test. What we will do is we will add so many different antigens. These are all prospective vaccine candidate. How we identify that which antibody is good for us? So what we do, we have taken these monoclonal antibodies and we are testing against several epitopes of the virus. Okay, on the surface of COVID-19 there are plenty of antigens. So all these antigens we are finding in which there is a strong binding. So we find out what? Among so many antibodies, a particular antibody is there which binds very strongly. Okay, so what we did, we identified this particular epitope and subsequently we will process. Okay, so there are a couple of other concepts as well, but what I want to show you now is this, that what are the different domains of